now we can focus on the extras. Because, of course, I have to support this work of art. So let's take a look together. Thank you for supporting Dream Barbecue. Here you'll find behind-the-scenes content from this game's development, unlockable by finding our glass dogs through the game. This contains spoilers from contents of Chapter 1. Okay. There's obviously a lot. I will definitely try to find the dogs later on, for sure. So I feel like I'm looking at this legitimately. But I'm bad at games. So let's take a look. The original animatic for the official trailer originally planned to be released in December 2022. Even though we were late, we are very proud of what it came out to be, as the process of making it was like a full standalone animation. We are grateful to everyone who helped make it, including the fans who we do this for. I feel like I would have a lot of fun making animatics. But with something like this, I don't think I could do like actual animation. It would be nice though. Also, I like how he isn't afraid for this to be quote-unquote low quality. Because like some animatics like on YouTube and stuff are actually like pretty well put together. But with this is definitely like one of the first stages of the animatic. And showing this, you know, we should show more of this. In progress shot from the official trailer, it was decided the helicopter legs didn't fit the preceding shot. Aww. One of the many reference animations created for the trailer for 3D artists. Quick animatics like these were used whenever Joel needed to direct a 2D or 3D shot for timing and composition. That's cool. Many side drawings were made while working on various parts of the game. Usually these occur when the topic in VC changed to something silly or fun. These also show some of Joel's process when planning out and acting for these complicated shots. I love this. The first concept of the entire game. 3 simple rooms with only a handful of characters. The early development of Dream Barbecue was guided by the idea that it did not need to be a large project, nor take a long time to produce. However, because of the creativity of the artists, developers, musicians, writers, and everyone in the team, Dream Barbecue's complexity expanded a little. It took us several years to realize that we should release in chapters because of the complexity. We think this is the right move, as we get to lock in on cool things, as well as you get to see. More in a earlier. That is definitely a cool way of doing it for sure. And to basically have like more time to focus on little things at a time and not trying to do everything at once. What do I know? I haven't made a game. Top. One of the earliest sketches of the hub. This hub only had 1 floor and 3 doors. At this time, in concepting out Dream Barbecue, we wanted all the doors to be accessible. However, we learned that focusing on 1 door, 1 chapter at a time would be best for fans and the artists best developers. What I was just talking about. Cool! Bottom. A very, very, very rough idea of how Door 1, Lonely Door, may play out narratively. While sparse, most of these early ideas made it to the final experience. Phase 1, enter the club. Phase 2, inside the club. Phase 3, inside the bathroom. Cool. A rough sketch of what the ending to Door 1 may look like. When we play-tested early versions of this idea, it became more obvious that we needed to have certain moments accentuated, both to let the player know the game is ending and to better inform the player as to what is likely to happen later in the story of Dream Barbecue. I love these sketches because like it's rough sketches, but like it still has a lot of personality to them. Early concepts for Uncanny Streets, both bright and dark. Yeah. Early in development, instead of Uncanny Streets Bright and Uncanny Streets Dark, we used Uncanny Streets Up and Uncanny Streets Down. This was way too confusing and naturally changed to better communicate which place we need to talk about. Yeah, makes sense. Oh, these are some of the many thumbnail ideas from several team members when we needed to decide on Stigma assets. This kind of process of pitching ideas from different angles was common throughout all of Dream Barbecue's development. all of these are really cool concepts. And I love like all of the compositions. Each of them having like their own personality to it. Yeah, it's just great. I love seeing all of it. Quick sketches of Joel's ideas for the stream page assets. These were obviously the best ideas out of all of ours. Yes, definitely. I love these sketches. So cool. A cool drawing that came about when making the official trailer. We had fun here. Okay. You know, more games should have something like this. Like, just showing the process of how everything was made, and seeing the creators have fun with it. You don't see that a lot, and we should make that popular again. While not the only concept for the cold open of Enna during barbecue, this captures the essence of what we felt could ease players into the experience we wanted them to have. The cold open allowed us to invite the player to explore and show them that they may not know what to expect around corners in the game. And of course, to think that there may be more things to find wherever they end up. When figuring out the cold open for Enna during barbecue, we had a few ideas in mind. All of them involved an infinitely spanning location where you find the bed door. Yeah, that's honestly a really cool way of making a scene in a game. It's just infinite. I'm not really sure how they did it, but that's so cool. To do something. A very rough animation to communicate Joel's idea of how Enna should open her eyes in the cold open. This reference was used to communicate to both animators and programmers how this effect could be made and then implemented in the engine via sprite shapes. It's something only shorter animations can afford. That's cool. This technical reference shows a third-person perspective of a scene transition. How we did this effect in the engine is by having a duplicate of the area appear in the new scene temporarily as the bed goes forward through the floor. Whoa. That is a cool way of doing it. We then check the camera position at the end of the cutscene and move the player to the appropriate place for a mostly seamless transition. Yeah, that was really cool. With concept art, of the background and a few close-ups of what assets could look like, we used this concept to start making the 3D models for the hub. This was one of the very first locations we made for the game, all the way back in 2021. Whoa, shoot, this has been in the works for a while now. Let's take a closer look. The hub, first floor. Elevator to basement. Door to Rainy Valley. This is where the bed was to begin. Second floor. Oh, I love concept art! Sorry, I'm... Wait, sorry, I shouldn't be saying sorry, but I love concept art. Like, this concept art is just really fun to play around with. And from seeing like it in game, but now seeing the concept art of it, I don't really know how to describe it, but I just have a passion for this kind of stuff, and it's really cool to see. I can look at concept art for hours and be like, a person with this amount of creativity made this. And this color codes like where all this is. Oh, this is so cool. Okay. I need to stop geeking out for a second so we can move on. This is a very early gray box of the hub to determine its scale and layout. This led to us figuring out a few scaling issues when it came to how tall Anna is in the engine, as well as bringing into focus some assumptions we had made about the scale of locations in the game. Oh, seeing the bare bones of it is so cool. Man. It's so cool. This animation rough was used for lining up the shots for the game's introductory cutscene. For a very long while, this is what playtesters got to see when playing Dream Barbecue for the first time. Well, that's cool. This is so cool. Some animations don't require beautiful animatics. These rough poses from Joel show how Froggy should look in his various animations in the hub. He did originally have more complex animations planned, however, due to time and their complexity, they were simplified to these poses. Oh, here comes Blender. While all the 3D characters in Dream Barbecue have different requirements when it comes to rigs, some of the more humanoid and advanced characters that need full body animation require a more intricate rig for their animations. Often, the model and rig for the pre-rendered cinematics are not the same rigs used in-game. This is due to the constraints of exporting complex rigs. Understandable. But seeing, like, rigs is really interesting to me. I want to get into, like, rigging things, but it takes a lot of work and effort, and with my ADHD and wanting to have tons of hobbies, I can't do it all. But I could really appreciate complex rigs like this. The 2D face rig of Kane is demonstrated here. Several bones are used to coordinate textures offsets on the model. This character prompted us to use an in-engine method of animating characters in the same way. Our main blocker for this, however, was the limitation of the FBX format not supporting constant interpolation for animations. This means we had to go into animations after importing them into Unity and selectively correcting the curves. Ooh, I bet that was annoying. Animatic for the first cutscene of Kane. Most of the time, the animator will have creative liberty in how the character is depicted, unless a lore reason prevents it. Aw. I love creative liberty. These rugs are how Georgie directed specific animations that needed to be either pre-rendered or in-game. Occasionally, these would be run by the technical director to check if the animation was possible to play in Unity or if it needed special programming or rigging. fun frame of game animation that demonstrates his rig. Each group of corns needs to be able to be animated as a group for when they are their limbs, but also separately for when they need to fall or float somewhere specific. Wow. Oh, we have a lot to go through. I'm going to stop this here for now, because it's late, but you will see me in like a second or two. Hi, I'm back after I don't know how long it's been since I've recorded the last part, but I do have a little surprise that I will be using for this video. Me! Yeah, I finally decided to actually use it. So, we left off. Well, I don't even have to explain because this will be in the same video, but we looked at these two. Now, let's take a look. This is one of the earliest tests of the scale of Uncanny Streets Bright in Engine. This gray box was to test how big Uncanny Streets Bright should be in order to stay engaging and not take too much time between important locations. This scale is why we originally wanted a bus in US Bright for fast travel. That became unnecessary though, as we scaled down the terrain. I really like looking at gray boxes because it's basically almost like a sketch when it comes to making a game. Like how artists start with sketches and then build up from that, or at least some people do. But for like game designers, this is their sketch phase. Just starting out with like the most simplest things. I find it really cool to look at these things. This colored gray box of Uncanny Streets Bright is what began to give us a proper sense of scale of what this level could be. The sky in this image is actually the same mesh the same mesh used in the final game. Yeah, you can definitely see it starting to like look like how it is in game. That's really cool. These paintings were our foundation for the feeling, scale, and scope of Uncanny Streets Bright. We did our best to capture these paintings' depiction of this otherworldly ship barging through the desert floor. Let's take a closer look at this. First off, I will say this again, I absolutely love concept art. I could go absolutely crazy. And like, with concept art, you don't have to be that detailed in things if you don't want to. Like how in the first painting, it might look detailed, but it's pretty simplified if you look at it carefully. Besides from probably like the rocks, those look really good. I also love like the angles they decided to do in these little paintings, because I will talk about each one separately, but for the first one, like the whole thing moves your eyes towards the ship. One, because it's in the middle of of the painting, but also how the sketch is still there, and this just shows like, hey, this is probably mainly to look at the ship at this perspective. And it also helps with like what the size is, because if you look at the bus stop over here, this is massive. This is really big. Over here is more of the sketch portion, and the colors show you like the main parts of the ship. The third one over here, I really like. I don't really have a reason. I just really like the look of it. A top-down look at it. Well, angled top-down, but that's really cool. And here, this feels very cozy. Here, let me move myself over here. Like, it's supposed to be casted in shadow, but this feels nice. I really like this. Okay. Oh, lot of reading. Okay. This collection of ideas, concept art, and thumbnails are for some of the things spread around Uncanny Streets Bright. The taxi driver with his 3 heads, Socio, Doom, and Crazy? I'm not good at reading or doing any of this stuff. I know 100% I messed those names up. Also, here is the Complicated array of metal parts and veins in the taxi driver's neck. Fun. The concept of the double taxi came from Uncanny Streets being double-sided, and we're glad to have seen that vision to the end. Definitely. Like, when I saw this in game, I already knew, like, oh yeah, it's for the upper side of Uncanny Streets. Before we continue to read more, let's take a look at the bus driver. He's so big! He is so big. Also, all of his heads are really unique, and I love that a lot. Ugh. I had a feeling they were fingers, but okay. Now I see it. Now I see it more, and I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Here, let me move. There we go. Oh. I hate knowing that. And then over here is all of the thumbnails. Thumbnailing is surprisingly hard. It takes a lot of skill to be able to get something really good out of it. So props to the people who made these thumbnails right here. It's crazy. I want to get that good someday. I'm practicing. Also pictured is the concept of the bus, which was originally supposed to be a rideable NPC. However, once the scale of Uncanny Streets was decided, we found fast travel wasn't necessary. The concept for Hoarder Alex's junk piles here actually has some unused concepts from the Power of Potluck episode of the Enna series. I thought so. Also, I heard that with the concept of the butt, it was in your pillow. I love seeing him in these cool like projects. He deserves it. He's really cool. Also, the crane is... I don't even know how to feel about it. It's like a head, hand, crane. And then it kind of had like centipede like legs. You know this is Enna by just looking at all of these like designs. 100% Enna. Also, I see all this. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. And all these masks. Toilet. Also, I have seen this character been talked to in like videos on YouTube, which are kind of like almost out of bounds. I how do I describe it? It's really cool seeing people go out of bounds and to see that there are like secret stuff outside of bounds. I find it cool. An early arrangement of how the Froggy Call in US Bride's opening needed to play out. The final version was separated a bit and moved further back to not distract the player too much from experiencing Uncanny Street's bright reveal. This storyboard shows the non-UI of early Froggy Calls. Player stops, camera shakes. Text appears saying, "We have a sudden urge to go to the bathroom." Camera moves forward and turns to look at window in very robotic, smooth, lerped way? I don't know that word. Camera moves forward again and pans up to opaque window. Window becomes transparent with musical fanfare. Then, let me... After time to take in sights and sounds, Froggy calls to interact with Anna. Also, I absolutely love that Froggy sketch. He looks so funny in it. I love him. I love him so much. Oh, while I'm reading. Okay. Near the start of development, it was still unclear how we could implement our 2D characters into the 3D in-engine environments. Originally, the witch characters were supposed to all be sprite animations, coordinated in the 3D space of the engine. However, as we weighed the restrictions that we would have, we looked more into having these longer sequences be pre-rendered videos overlaid on top of the screen. This gave Joel much more control over their animation and presentation. As he should. And I'm really glad that they decided on this. Like, it honestly looks really good, and I really enjoyed seeing like all these animations look great in the game. I was wondering like how they were going to do it, and by it being pre-rendered videos overlaying. Yeah, this was a really good call. Rough sketches for an alternate path concept in US Sprite. Shaman antics. I would have loved to see the antics of the shaman. and these sketches have like a lot of life in them, even though like they are goofy little sketches. I love them, and I will cherish them. The original concept and pitch of the human board item for Door 1. This allowed the programmers and artists to coordinate how exactly this item could be implemented. The first iterations had quite a few bugs that, of course, needed to be ironed out to match the vision. Human board is a special item that you can use as a bridge between long distances. The 3D model will stretch as much as you can. You can create ladders to reach high places too. Also, I love the little concept art here. I love it so much. and I just like the art direction of the concept art. I just love concept art. I will say this a million times in this video. I love concept art. If there are anyone who's making like video games out there who's somehow watching this video and stumbled upon it, please, concept art, show us. Please, please, I beg you. This animatic is for the unused human board tutorial animation in Door 1. Huh. I love this. He's not a fan of Stampede. Split his head and let it grow from the bones of the earth. I don't have like a lot of knowledge of animation, so I can't really say much. But I love seeing animatics. I love seeing, I guess, like, the first thoughts in like, the final product, I guess. The base storyboard for Toski Maiden's first cinematic. Often these go into detail about how the characters should animate and what rules their animation should follow, either for consistency or lore reasons. I did really enjoy this character because, like, first off, the voice acting was amazing for this character. Top 10, like 10 out of 10. And all the like animations for this character, I also love that too. A lot of character, a lot of love, like was the recipe for this character. Why the frick is Ben the human here? What the? The animatic for Toski's Maiden, I'm just gonna say Maiden. I'm sorry. First cutscene. During playtesting, people always laughed at the cut to poorly drawn Anna, so it was naturally kept just like that for that one shot. I'm glad they did, because like just just seeing that, I really loved it. It just shows like they are not afraid to add quote unquote imperfectness into Anna. Anna is perfectly unperfect in a way. Well, that's just my thoughts on it. More concept art! Oh, let's go! This collection of concept art shows specific moments in Uncanny Streets Bright that we wanted the player to see. From the entity trapped in the buildings that you can talk to once the smoke clears, as well as the ascension up to the giant orb in the sky. I am trying to stop myself from just repeating myself. I just have a big passion. And just... I fanboy over concept art. I'm trying to hold it in the best as I can because I don't want to be a broken record. But I love it. I love it. Okay. For the first one, top left. I have wondered if you were able to like talk to this being. I guess I missed it in my playthrough, but that's interesting to know that you could talk to it, right? Yeah. And just the angle of the perspective, and I'm gonna say this again. I love how the world is how this world is a sandwich with ground, then sky, then ground again. Like the ground being your sky, basically. Do more of that, please. Second one. It just has a lot of character in this one for sure. I don't really have much to say about this one. I just like it. I like it. Go over here. I really like how it's dark and it just leads your eyes to this little pool right here. I really like it. This right here is beautiful. I already love just looking at it and staring at it. And just... I don't know, I just really enjoy it. It's all like almost cool tones. Even like the former shades still have a cool tint to it. Because like since this part is like so up in the sky, it gets colder, and so having all this cool tint, I just like it. I just like it. Also, I love the little Anna and the human board. and also the effect that they put on it for the concept art of it look like it's moving a bit, because of the little blurs. Awesome. Then I'm gonna put myself again. This is what I get for using this shit. I did really enjoy this area. Wait, can you see me? There we go. I really enjoyed this area. And this around it, I find it to be really cool. When it comes to like galaxy-ness, yada yada, some people are afraid to use like different colors for like galaxy and space like art, but I can see that they are unafraid. The greens and the blues mixed with purplish pinkish red, almost like a rainbow. And again, the lighting just moves your eyes towards the pool, but also the entrance / exit that you came from. Really cool. But just so you know, I'm not like a pro artist or something. I'm just talking about the stuff that I like looking at. These concepts of various characters were very important for the multitude of artists working on the game to use as reference. Some don't match exactly with what ended up in engine, but those changes were made through iteration and trusting the artist's individual visions. As you should. Trust the artists, because they could come up with something really cool. Every artist has their own vision, and all of them are unique. Also, I really enjoyed the shaman character because like it reminded me of the like really old Zelda games with the like, I wouldn't say weird animations, but like, you know what I'm talking about. It was definitely inspired by that, which I really enjoy. And this character has a really cool design to them. The colors are interesting, and an interesting choice for sure. At least in this concept right here. And how this one turned more into like black and white. You kind of stay the same. You also kind of stay the same. Of course we love you. You are kind of terrifying. Then the bus stop. I really liked the design of the bus stop. I don't know why. I just did. I liked it. First, the primary animatic for the US Bright windows is revealed. The early animatic features the old Froggy Call UI concept of Froggy just being a giant floating head. Second, another idea of what the call effect should look like in engine when Froggy calls Enna. We weren't sure how silly the visual should be, though though the final cup and string animation, Wednesday concept, seemed the best fit. Huh! Oh, I love that phone. How? Oh, that's so cool. But yeah, like the cup and string, which is definitely a really good choice. I found it to be a really funny way to do that system. And also the giant floating head. I find that to be funny. Originally, the quest images were not animated and were supposed to have a digital look, similar to the item preview models. However, after experimenting with different art styles, right, we decided that an animated pencil-drawn look fit much better and offered more life to the quests. Oh yes, 100%. It was a really good, like, a really good idea for it to be animated and pencil drawn look. It definitely gave more life, I do agree. And you just don't see a lot of pencil-like animations like that frequent. I really liked it. I really like that touch. Animatic for Hoarder Alex's interactions. This animatic needed to convey the acting Joel had in mind for the participating animators. This includes specific poses and motions for the emotion/lore they needed to convey. This kind of direction was common for characters that had a specific role in the narrative. That's so goofy, I love that. Small animatic to demonstrate the acting involved in Hoarder Alex's passive animations. Also, I see the gray boxes. I love seeing them. Also, I love how bouncy he is. A very basic prototype of the Witch's Crane puzzle that would be present in Uncanny Streets Bright. I'm glad I did not go down that path, because I would have been stuck in that for like an hour at least. I'm not good at like these kind of games. Animations for the crane puzzle on US Bright. Even though they were tiny on screen, they still require considered animation. Yeah. Love it. Also, I love the colors, by the way. I love all the colors. I love it a lot. Wanted to let that be known. A perfectly refined mayonnaise procurement interface. Awesome. Love it. This is the only reference Joel handed off to direct the 3D animator for the Wanderer attacking the building in your sprite. That's so funny. The only reference. It kind of looks like it's just licking the building. I love that. That's great. Adam drew this. This is a work of art. I have seen this like around, and I'm like, I'm so glad I get to cover this, because this, I love this. It looks so goofy and I love it. Thank you, Adam. Animatic for the transition between US Sprite and core scenes. This animation would occur in engine almost entirely due to the complex camera movement and on-screen visuals needed to interact with the game systems, such as the call dialogue UI. These animations were created using Blender by several 3D artists. The camera in Blender was made to have the same settings to line up the action and make sure it looks correct in the engine. Again, I don't have a lot to say when it comes to the animatics, because I just don't have a lot of knowledge in it. But I do respect it, and I find it really cool. Ooh, we still have a lot to go. Okay. Also, I'm so glad we have a lot to go through. A video demonstrating a smaller feature that we only use in certain places. Our relocator for the player originally did not consider the travel direction of the player when teleporting them. This is a small demo of adding that functionality. You can also kind of see the interior of the ship, showing some of its non-Euclidean properties. I love that still of the shaman. Also, yeah. Oh, that's crazy. Seeing like the ship like that. No, let me pause it. Okay, wait, hold on. Hold on. Yeah, that's crazy. Seeing the ship like that. Now that's interesting to look at. This demonstrates the more complex rig made for the barely visible neck joint of the taxi driver. Okay, now that's sick. Even though we barely see it, I am so glad we have these extras, so we can like actually give love to the smallest details here. Like that is such a cool rig. I love that. And it's so cool to look at. Oh, my favorite place. Let's go. Maine. This faraway view of this area shows how the illustration of the sky is created. By following the player's position, the sky can appear infinitely far away. We do this in several locations across the game. Okay. Top left. This texture is used to control the timing of the lights across the bay and on the ocean. On a technical level, this is accomplished with simple scrolling UVs. Oh, that's neat. Bottom left. This is the first concept painting of this area, pulled directly from the artist's head. Slay! Let's freaking go! Oh yeah, I absolutely loved this part of the game. and that is why it is in the thumbnail of my playthrough. I love this part. I would play Anna again just to look at this place more further. Various dithering and compression schemes to achieve the right level of crust. Yes. Behold. Dolo. I really love dithering and compression stuff. It has its own art to it. As you can see from these, like, 6 examples. That's really cool. A fun side venture into the design of the chocolate's currency symbol. We explored a few avenues and, through the back and forth iterations, landed on the symbol used in the game. A heavily truncated, is it? I am not gonna attempt to say that. But yeah, that is a lot of back and forth. Ooh, okay. These very early concepts of how Uncanny Streets would play show a few things. Originally, we called the bright and dark versions of Uncanny Street up and down. This turned out to be awful for communication. The second set of images show how the purge event was originally envisioned, though the final version isn't as intense as the bottom storyboard. Okay, old idea. Uncanny Streets down. Exploration. Bridge event. I love the pog face. Or the gasp face of like, oh! The core. No idea. Uncanny Streets up. Exploration. Uncanny Streets down. Parts event. I wish I could zoom in. I want to see the tiny little details, but I cannot. But yeah, this is the line to the purge event. You pay with your arm. drink. Get out of here! Spat. I love all of these little like sketches. They were really cool to look at. This draw over by Joel in Uncanny Streets Dark goes over how he imagined the watches playing. That's cool. Yeah, secret spot. I did not see this part, but I have seen it in like YouTube videos. One of the earliest location concepts we had for Uncanny Streets Dark and the whole of Dream Barbecue. This includes the non-Euclidean nature of the Perch Events lobby being inside the ear. This was accomplished in-engine by using our 3D skybox feature to display geometry that is actually somewhere else, as if it was behind the ear. Oh yeah, that was such, like, a cool effect. I want to get into game design and stuff like that. I just have too many hobbies. But yeah, like I really appreciate the cool stuff that people can do in game engines. This was really neat. And plus the animatic to show this effect. Awesome. The storyboard was to direct the more complicated introduction animation. This was made early on before we implemented videos into the game. Once we did that, all the animations in the game became much more interesting. Yeah. I like that. Storyboard for several shots of Me Too's cinematic cutscene. I don't remember if I met this character or not. But this is really cool. Maybe I should take a look. See if I did. If I did, I'm a fake fan. And me not remembering. Fake fan. Concepts for the major characters in the Purge event. The last Mia was originally supposed to appear with the others. However, due to the water and her design needing a lot of detail and animation time, she was excluded from Chapter 1. But that means she could come back in the other chapters. Cope. A little bit of cope, but it doesn't say that she is excluded from everything. Also, that is a cool character. A cool character design. I really like that. Also, he was really fun. I really liked him. Animatic for Heito's cinematic. This was really fun to animate in 3D. It was, I swear. It was fun. I don't know whether to believe that or not. cool animatic. This animatic for the entrance to the Purge event was used to make both the pre-rendered 3D animations for the pod, but also the camera motions and screen effects that happen in engine. Cool. This transition shows a cut version of Anna that was originally supposed to appear in the Purge event and the core scenes. Early on, Anna had a striped peppermint appearance that got changed to her greenish humanoid form. Crazy. This is a bunch of, this is a small bunch of animatics for the Purge event creatures during the party. They were chaotic gremlins. Oh, this poor one. That one was honestly funny. The Purge event creature version of Anna with no issues or visual bugs at all. Yeah! This program art gray box of the Purge event shows how different elements of the game were built a piece at a time, making sure they play well before art and music are added to the final experience. Yeah, this is really cool. A very cool drawing by Joel to show how Anna should look in the Purge event. I love it. I love it. Oh? This delayed frame effect, inspired by early N64 games, was developed to make the Purge event ending cutscene feel more interesting without needing to pre-render any videos. It functions simply by saving a frame to a texture and redisplaying it a little later. Oh, that's cool. It's really interesting. Ooh! A quick and dirty storyboard to convey the original idea of the Purge event creature animations. Internally, these creatures were referred to as fish, but the pottery they are based on actually are orcas. Oh, that's a cool fun fact, which we did not know. It's a fitting coincidence that we ended up using orca whistles for the audio cue for the Purge event. That's neat. Another more refined version of the ending of the Purge event from a third-person angle. Sadly, the matching hat element of this animation did not make it into the game. This is so sad. It would have been so goofy. But also, I get it. I get it. An animatic showing the final cutscene of the Purge event to be animated in 3D with effects and engine. This video shows rough blocking of the animation. It's important to have this intermediate version of the animation while working on it, so that the feel and impact can be tweaked easily. This is better for both the animator and the direction of a sequence. Oh, yeah, that's really cool. Animatic for the chorus intro cinematic. Oh yeah, this was a really cool animation. Also, it is really cursed to see like almost humanoid in a zombie form. Looks really uncanny. This rough shows the effect Joel had in mind for the core intro. Yeah, neat. Very hazy. Kind of like Anna is just waking up. The core ended up being pretty close to Joel's original vision, minus some additional challenges on the bamboo platforms. Anna originally was supposed to be red and white striped, and in early builds had the same stripes overlaid onto the player's vision when walking around the core. The giant bathroom gag was originally not intentional, but the visual of it was funny enough to write around. I'm glad. So these are called walkers. That's interesting. These walkers on the bamboo platforms would be an extra challenge for the player to face while platforming. In the end, they weren't needed due to both the river being challenging and the player's expectation that they'd get to try again like in previous areas. We used this to our advantage and made the platforming just difficult enough to get across to the bathroom. I failed instantly. And yeah, it did really catch me off guard how like there was just only one attempt. A third-person animatic to direct how the scene transition should happen in engine. This specific transition was difficult because of the audio existing both between scenes, and if you load in from the menu, and if you load from the menu into Lost Village directly. Tiny people. This animatic for the intro of Lost Village was made to try to have the opening animation convey the hints needed to solve the Lost Village puzzle. During testing, not many people understood the puzzle, so we ended up needing to add many hints and dialogue to support the player not getting stuck or annoyed. Many locations ended up requiring a lot of testing due to us balancing art and practicality. Yeah, with my playthrough, I I was so dense. I did not understand at all anyways. And so I just clicked on like every house until I found the right one. During development, we had an interesting event happen with this character. Due to a bug with the import of his sprites, his animation had several null values that would cause the Unity editor to crash if he was disabled in the scene. It took us a while to figure out that this character not being active was the cause, as Unity did not log any console errors. That is crazy. Man. That's so weird. These were very early ideas from for Dream Barbecue, Lost Village, and Broken Palace. The path to sometimes reading is so hard for me. Lost Village and Broken Palace, the path to a broken Theodora. It can only be wondered how much time has passed. Flesh mandrill animation. These and the entities from Lost Village both have a chance of appearing on the Broken Palace Road. I remember seeing these, if I remember correctly. These animation roughs were an interesting problem to solve. In Engine, the player can cancel the animations at any time, as well as look at anything in the game. So when recalling the human board, it must still look like it's possible. In Engine, we used the 3D version of the head and animated it to match the rough at the same frame rate. This allowed us to efficiently use sprites for Anna's hands only. That's interesting. The human version of Anna was originally designed by Brian. I'm not going to try your last name because I really don't want to butcher it. I'm really sorry. By Brian as a fun experiment to draw Anna in a hands-up animation style. Joel liked the idea and iterated on it. Eventually, that design replaced the stripped version of Anna that was originally in the core location. The human version of Anna, again, is cursed. It's a really cool design, but I find it to be really cursed. How many do we have left? Wow. This was a very early version of the bathroom level. The final location in-game ended up being larger and with more proper anticipation for the narrative, though we still use this version as a base for the gray version of it in the chapter's ending. I really liked this area. Like, even though it doesn't really have anything unique to it, it just felt too normal in a game. And with that, it was unique, and I enjoyed seeing that. Part 1 of Theodora's cinematic cutscene. This was discussed and planned very early on, and not having to interact with the in-engine rope was a fun detail that we thought helped break the separation of the 2D animations and 3D game world. For this whole interaction, it took 4 3D artists, 3 2D animators, and 2 developers to get what ends up in engine, with most individuals wearing several hats. Man. Yeah, that is a lot of people to work on, like, this cutscene alone. Animatic of second part of Theodora's cinematic cutscene. The original animatic and partial animation of Theodora's cutscene. This was originally a concept early on, however, it took a lot of time to put the pieces together for 3D audio and sing-songy voice acting. This cutaway shows how, for some cutscenes, we have to reframe the in-engine camera to match the shots of the 2D animation/renders. Some cutscenes have to rely on the Unity timeline tools, however others, like Theodora's, need more precise timing, so they are directed straight from dialogue timing. The animatics for the looped dialogues and the animatics for the main parts of the cutscene were used to gauge the scope needed for Theodora's smile and rig. As she was a main character, her model and texture required a higher resolution version, and her eyes/mouth needed to emote. The rig here shows how her animations were accomplished, and her mouth is lip-synced with her voice lines. Her eyes and mouth use the same method of masking to to not allow all the teeth or pupils to leave the edges of the sprite. It is so hard to read, and then my ADHD going like, there's a video in the background. All 3D models and pre-rendered 3D animations were made in Blender for this project, and it continues to be a powerful tool for us. Oh yeah, Blender, it being free, I still find it to be so crazy. Blender is so good. Also, that rig is crazy. Rigging stuff like this absolutely terrifies me. I love how bouncy she is. While making the 2D face rig for Theodora, this image was made as a meme while trying to match Joel's original direction. When Joel saw it, he said, "That's it! That's the perfect face!" I love that. Thank you, Joel. The full view of model used in Theodora's cutscene. The coin/medallion may be familiar. It's definitely familiar, but I don't remember where I saw it. These angels/Venuses were concepted very early on in development. However, they didn't see much implementation until the last few months of Chapter 1's development, showing up in the Froggy Calls, the Ascension sequence, and several animated cutscenes. Theodora's transitional animations for her interactions. It was important to have these thematically consistent for the chapter. The animatic for the collection of hourglass dogs. Aww. I'm glad that you get to pet the dogs. That is always a win in my book. This is just one. Okay. This animation was supposed to be an example animation for the human board item in Door 1. However, it was not used. Oh. I love the background art. It is so vibrant, yet still a little bit muted, but it's beautiful. Sorry. I just had to geek out for a moment. But the animation is really good. And I'm glad, even though it wasn't used, we still get to see it here and to appreciate the time it probably took to make this. I'm appreciating. One major issue that we noticed for some cutscenes is that on lower end hardware would stutter. While we weren't able to address this on all machines, we did find the main cause and work to fix it. As in the scene here, Dracula's shots still carried the information in the alpha channel, even though it was invisible. Once we realized this, we worked to call out the extra data to lower the bitrate significantly. That's crazy. Cause here it's almost 5,000, but here for Dracula it's almost 72k. That's insane. In the hub, we noticed that the second and first floors would actually intersect with the blood ocean. Because of this, we designed a teleport system to seamlessly move the player between the lower and upper floors, given the chance to start over. We may have implemented a portal system like other games. I didn't think of that. How the ocean would definitely intersect with all of this. Huh. Okay, more reading. In several scenes, we wanted to get a sense of scale without hurting performance by increasing our camera's clipping planes to thousands of meters. To do this, we made a 3D skybox system that projects the image from a second camera far beneath the scene with the geometry we'd like to see in the sky. This normally projects to the current sky, but we use the same system to project onto the mesh surfaces as well for a non-Euclidean effect. We used a similar method in Temptation Stairway for both the Mannequin Expanse and Shepherd's Observatory. That's so cool. That's so interesting. Honestly, props to the freaking game designers. Because that is big brained. That's crazy. For some scenes, we needed the camera to be animated to a specific timeline or a specific composition. To do this, we used a camera rig in Blender to animate the sequence and could easily import it into Unity. Again, props to Blender. Probably the best software out there, hands down. Luke Meerman's internal prototype scene for development. We also try to include Evan's prototype scene. However, something happened where if we try to open it, the Unity editor hangs, crashes, and generates a 16 gigabyte log file. We don't know why or how this happened, as it worked a few weeks ago. Oh, that's insane. 16 gigabyte log file? That's... how? The holes where the player uses the human board uses use several shaders to allow the geometry to cut into anything they're placed on. These systems were one of the earliest things we worked on when making the BBQ. Huh. Interesting. How many times am I going to say interesting in this video? I don't want to count. Because some of Enna's in-engine animations are sprites, we needed to balance size on disk and visual quality. To save space for many of the sprites, we cut out the mouths of characters so they can be stored as a smaller animation of sprites that is displayed on top of the base sprite. We made many tools for the game, and a custom sprite importer was absolutely necessary for these complex sprite animations. Wow. Yeah, they did really well with that. Good on them. Uh-oh. Example of how we write and control the logic of our dialogue and interactions. The left is a standard looping dialogue, and the right is an example of a more complex cutscene with specific timings. I don't know much about this, but we're gonna look anyways. I'm already lost. Appreciating. Next. This video shows how we wanted to use 8-way sprites for some objects in the game. In addition to the 8 sprites we need, we also need to use some shader magic to cut part of the surface they're resting on to allow them to be seen in full. You can see that from behind, the lid is actually clipping into the ground. The extra meshes we use with the stencil masks prevent the player from seeing that, however. Also, that is John's actual trash can he took photos of. Nice. The shader for the amoeba guy is one of the few instances of ray marching that we used in the game. Mathematical spheres follow a traditionally animated rig's bones. Because he's a shader, he can do a lot of things normal geometry cannot, like be goopy. I love that. Now that is goopy. Nice. We're almost done. The full concept of the main menu animations, including how the different panels flow between each other. I do find the main menu to be really cool. And how all the animations go. The original concept of the main menu animation. Display. A glimpse into the 3D text for the main menu and a glimpse into Luke Thompson's bubblegum pink mind. Okay. I have no clue what I'm looking at. But also, shout out to Luke for having a bright hot pink like color for some of the blended stuff. That is crazy, and honestly, you go. Shout out to you for loving these colors. There was a lot of deliberation about what the hourglass dog icons should look like on the menu. That is until Joel drew this for a few moments and shared it with the team. It was very clear what should be done. Oh, look at that one! That's... Ah. Okay, I love all of them. Thank you, Joel. I love you. A brief concept of how Anna opening her inventory could look once animated. Every element of the UI went through several concepts before finding what felt right. Oh yeah, this is... I really found this to be a really cool touch. Like, everything is animated. Everything in this game is animated, which is really cool to see because like Anna started out being an animation project, and so adding all these little animations to everything, it just fits. An early concept from Joel for dialogue history. Notably, the game didn't actually have a dialogue history system until a few months before release, but the concept existed for a while before this. Oh. A video showing the early version of the tool select screen. This screen has been through a few implementations before landing on one that feels good for one or more tools. Why is there a gun? Why is there a gun? Excuse me? Huh? She's trying to sell you insurance. I love that. I love the sketch. With the like fish lens. I love that. Why have we always had an idea of what the supporter edition might look like? This concept helped cement its design. Throughout development, we have been collecting neat things to put in here. Though it was only a week or so before launch we put this UI together. We were very happy with how it came out. As you should. Because this looks really good. And when I play my next playthrough, privately, I do want to actually get all of the hourglass dogs, so that I don't feel bad for just cheating and just looking at this before I find the dogs. Which I do feel bad about, but I will find the dogs. I swear. For the trailer, we had several versions of this painting. Each is more decrepit than the last. While this original was painted by John added the decay to each one after. The last and most decayed version scene in the trailer actually has an image of a moth baked into it, spanning almost the whole image. Now that's cool. That's a cool touch. This shot from the official trailer included some interesting Easter eggs, as well as technical feats from Brian. Using the Adobe Suite, he was able to paint by hand planes of textures and construct them into a faux 3D environment in After Effects, rendering it out to be able to pan down to Enna. Many other elements here were also constructed in a non-destructive manner to allow for quick changes because Joel wanted to include any other secrets. That is really cool. I don't have any Adobe products because 1, I don't have the money, and 2, I don't have the money. But that's really cool how you can do that. That's really cool. The more you know. Oh, okay, here we go. The long, incomplete list of iterations Joel had for this new design of Enna in 2021. It was a team effort to come up with just the right combinations of colors and attitudes. Okay. The first one reminds me of McDonald's. It reminds me of McDonald's. But it does seem like this shade of like a greenish blue stayed for a good while. So red and yellow, then a little orange and green, red and green, orange and yellow, this again, with a different shade of the greenish blue. Okay, shout out to these two designs. That is actually really cool. I hope they use it like somewhere in like the next chapters, or just keep it to be cool, you know. And this is where the white starts. White and orange, blue cap, blue suspenders, kind of, with red pants. This is a cool color scheme right here. White and orange still, with a little bit of like a faded yellow. This is a very pleasing color scheme. Red and yellow. Red and yellow. White and red. This is interesting. Then there's that. Whoa. And that is a lot of iterations. And also it's incomplete too. It just shows like how many attempts you could have in designs until you find the perfect one. And you just need to remember to be patient. Because I know with me sometimes, and designing characters, I don't have the patience. I want it to be perfect straight off the bat. But it is something that I'm learning, and that I should be more patient. These were some of the original designs of Froggy at the start of development. I distinctly remember waking up at 7 a.m. to an at everyone from Joel asking to choose one of these designs. It was incredible. Did he work like overnight or something? Okay. Jeans. The jeans. Underwear, hairy legs. Underwear, shaved legs. Jorts. And then I don't know what this is called. Then there's this. Then there's that. Then there's that. Man, the concepts go crazy. Alternate universe that should have been. I hate seeing this. Why? Why? Froggy's facial expressions all came from Joel's own face. Oh, that's interesting. When implemented in Engine, we noticed that some of the animations didn't fit the dialogue unless they were timed to change with Froggy's intonation. Because of this, we ended up putting more effort into having these looping animations timed to fit the dialogue. Yeah, I was wondering like whose face they used for all this. And it's really cool to now know it's Joel's own face. That's sick. Some of the many concepts for the UI of Froggy calls, with several people offering ideas, it's possible to see the iterative design process we used for many parts of the game. I like all of these. I like the cute little Anna. Because much of the art of this game was directly inspired by early video games, we photobashed many of our textures using real-life photos. Yeah, I noticed that. On top of these, after collaging them together, we often painted layers by hand to unify the colors and design, or to extend them. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's really cool. Oh, here we go. Many of the textures in Anna Dream Barbecue were actually painted at full resolution before being scaled down and dithered. Often, we only had to paint up to a level of detail that would look good when scaled way down. All the textures in Dream Barbecue are either hand-painted or photobashed from real photographs. This is because most game art in the 90s only had these two options. Yeah. This is really cool. I love learning about, like, the artist's, like, path down, like, what they do. Okay. English is not working at the moment. Please come back later. But like, I love seeing the process of artists gonna stop trying. Anyways, each location in Enadrin Barbecue has a specific palette of 256 or fewer colors. This makes it especially easy for artists to add assets to an area and have them blend in seamlessly. Not every asset texture needs to adhere 100%, but having the majority of colors the same is a big requirement for the artistic direction of these games to the assets. I fully agree with this. Like, to have colors work together and to have like everything work together, having the same palette for things is definitely a good way to make sure that everything works together seamlessly. These images show how we use dithering in the majority of our textures. When used tastefully, dithering can help blend painted parts of a base texture. It can also unify photo textures with hand-painted additions. Dithering, my beloved. I love seeing dithering. It has its own art to it, which I've said before, but it's just so cool to see. Especially right down here. I can look at this for a long time and just appreciate it. But this second recording is almost 2 hours long now, so I can't stay here for too much longer. This is a start to finish example of how a little asset can be made. Starting with a brainstorming of ideas, quick doodle concepts are made, then clarified, then made and textured. Many things in DBBQ were made through this process. As artists, we allow the assets to be what they'd like to be from the beginning to end. Will the inside of the taxi be 3D? I forget. I have no idea how it should look. Well, close your eyes and imagine. I was thinking maybe looking bigger in the inside. There's no seats. Does it look 3D or does it look like a 2D animation background in your head? I mean, 3D! Alright, so no seats. What about steering wheel and dashboard? Got one of those? No, nothing like that. Inside looks very empty. What about an air freshener hanging from the rearview mirror? Or a single dashboard hula dancer? Or a spindle bobblehead? Spindle bobblehead sounds good. And then the spindle bobblehead. I love that. That's great. We love Findle. When coming up with the quest images, there is a bit of iteration across different ideas. It was important to us to be creative, but also not confuse the player with who was giving the quest and what the quest was about. Benjo sketches, let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Donna is the real-life dog that the Hourglass dog's based off of. We all love her dearly. Aw. Let's go! We love you, Donna. Almost done. We all experienced quite a few crashes in Unity, though many of them were our fault. Some of the notable and scary crashes we encountered were the ones we couldn't track down the cause of. One of these happened when trying to reset our cinematic audio every frame by accident. This low-level command would cause our audio solution to break and hard crash the game. This wasn't a huge issue on the desktop, but pretty significant on the Steam Deck, which had no safety net for a hard crash. Crazy. One of the most serious crashes we saw during playtesting stemmed from characters like this one in Uncanny Streets Bright. Due to an error with how we triggered voice lines or chatter, the game had a chance of crashing due to a memory error in our audio solution. Crazy. Early on, we playtested Lost Village. This did not go well. Our testers did not understand the hints from the opening cutscene, so we added particles to the characters. They did not usually understand this either. We added Frank to help clarify further through dialogue you cannot skip with highlighted text. While not perfect, we do like how Lost Village turned out overall. Love it. During development, we always had the idea of making a Lost Woods inspired puzzle. However, it is hard to know how players will react to puzzles like this. And it still causes us problems. With 2 visual hints, every NPC saying to follow the whistle being reiterated in the opening cutscene twice, it's still in the air if players understand what to do. We tweaked this up until launch, but it is what it is. Oh. When working... Wait on. Okay. When working on the game, we wanted to release it on Windows, Mac, and Linux, and Steam Deck if possible. Because of this, we encountered some interesting visual bugs when testing on different platforms. We had most of our visual issues showing up on Metal on macOS. These usually arose from our custom rendering methods for things like the 3D we have and several screen effect shaders. Here it is demonstrated that our 3D skybox shader never cleared the depth buffer. So it would smear until nans appeared as giant black bars. We're not sure why everything is green and purple though. That's crazy. This also terrifies me a little when I start going down the hobby path of game design. Another Metal API bug. Because of how we fake the expansiveness of our faux skyboxes, we use some polar coordinate math to calculate the pixel values. This, however, on Metal, seems to introduce floating point errors that would explode into nans. Likely what happened was a rounding error that led to a divide by 0 error when sampling the texture. Man, that's crazy. Will I say crazy to everything, and also interesting to everything? Yes, I do think so. My vocabulary is none. point still stands that it's crazy. This bug on Metal occurred for the same reason as the other camera-related bugs. I'm getting distracted by the video. Okay. Due to the buffer not clearing, the HDR values would balloon rapidly into a ridiculous high range. This caused whole sections of the screen to become bright, then black, as the graphics API didn't know how to display them when trying to calculate the bloom. Man. The human board step effect is a vertex shader applied to the model. This video shows partially how it was controlled and some errors that came with it. E.g., the feet start to rise because of an asymptote in the math near zero, the origin of the model. I feel like that has happened to me when making 3D models. Another Metal on macOS visual bug. This happened, we learned, due to having multiple cameras rendering from our equipment layer and our main player viewer. Since we didn't want the human board clipping into walls when you stand in front of one, we rendered it out to a separate camera to be drawn on top. macOS didn't like our first approach though. Whoa. That's cursed. I like programming, but it does not like me. Most of my commits to this game were commits of sound and 3D assets. Any commits of code tended to look like this. Final attempt to make cutscene work. Luke, help. Add like 70% of Tashkimaiden's new stuff. Although none of it works. Luke, help. Add non-functional Blizzard noise. Luke, help. Update particle system on Chili human board. Luke, help me. Re-add part of the deleted observer fix. Sorry, Luke. Oh. Thank you all for playing our game. It has been a wild ride. I love this. I love this just board of sketches and also dog photos. Here, I will move myself down so you all can take a look at it together. I could look at this for hours. Looking at every single sketch there is. So, if you want to look at it, you should pause. Okay, here I go. Oh, that's cool. For that part, I will not show because you guys should support the game and make sure to buy this little DLC to look at all the stuff by yourself. I really think you should. This was a wonderful game, and and with the first chapter being free, I I would pay like a good $30-50, you know? Well, thank you guys for watching. I had a really fun time looking at all of this. Well, farewell, netizens.